Part 20. First Marriage Then Love, Mr. Mayor Please Be Kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 196. Not long after Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe returned from City A, everyone in the village knew that the big tile house was built by Chu Xia's son-in-law. While discussing the good fortune of the couple, there are also quite a few malicious speculations. Therefore, people from all over the world are rumoring that Chu Xia will marry an old man. This is the inferiority of human beings. They always feel that what they can't get, others can't get it so easily. If they are lucky enough to get it, then there must be some shady tricks. Therefore, guessing, the news that the daughter of Lin Baohe's family went out to serve as a soldier for a month, and the news that the old man liked it flew out as if she had grown wings. The so-called rumors mean that after everyone knows about it, the person concerned is kept in the dark. This matter is not inconvenient. When the news spreads all over the sky, Lin Baohe and his wife only know about it. And they got the news from Luo Gangshun and Aunt Fat. As for Luo Gangshun and Fat Aunt, they got the news from Grandpa Dagang. Grandpa Dagang learned the news from chatting with others accidentally. In short, because the relationship between these companies is relatively close, when rumors spread, these companies were intentionally forced to leave. As a result, the news lagged behind the actual spread by many days. At this point, explanations are meaningless. Is it possible that you are going to shout on the loudspeaker? The couple discussed it and did not give any explanation to the outside world. The reason is very simple. On the day of welcoming the bride, the rumors will naturally be dispelled. Explaining now will only increase everyone's conversation. Therefore, seeing that the day of getting married is getting closer, many people are waiting to see the joke with all their energy. Some people even bet on whether the son-in-law is older or the father-in-law is older. And in the process of this lively spread, Mr. Lin, Mrs. Lin and Dabo Lin, Uncle Lin, not only did not help to say a good word, he also pretended to be joking. Of course, if you look at the jokes, you can look at the jokes. The old couple wanted to take advantage of it, but they didn't want to take advantage of it. The reason for not being able to join Lin Chuxia's wedding is simple, for fear of embarrassment. According to local customs, when marrying a daughter, there must be a relative to marry, and this relative, of course, is the father's brother, sister, and sister. Sister-in-law Lin Baojuan has fully recovered. On the contrary, she greeted Lin Baohe and his wife early on, and on the day of Chu Xia's wedding, she was going to send them off with her. However, it is a local custom that at least 12 relatives of the same surname must go to see off their relatives, which means that they attach importance to married girls. This is a local custom, although the Zhou family may not think so. But it is impossible for Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan, who grew up here, not to care about this matter. If Lin Baojiang and Lin Baohe can't find other relatives and friends with the surname Lin in Wufu, it would be a joke, so I said. Now it's pretty much a dead end. Either, Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan went to beg Lin Baojiang and Lin Baohai, or the daughter they spared was widely regarded as a laughing stock in the local area. Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan absolutely could not accept being rumored to be a laughing stock. If people from Chu Xia's in-laws family came here, they would hear all negative things. Would you still pay attention to Chu Xia? So in the past few days, the couple has nothing to worry about. If they go to beg Lin Baojiang and Lin Baohai, then Chu Xia will raise 3 parents and 3 mothers all at once. This is something the couple cannot accept. Chu Xia's mother-in-law's family knew about it. What would they think of Chu Xia? So Zosei can't do anything, right think still can't do anything. The closer the wedding is, the more anxious the couple will be. Let's discuss it with the eldest brother and sister-in-law Zhao Yulan, who really couldn't figure out a solution, and was too irritable, suggested. Okay. The couple hit it off immediately, and immediately rode a brand new Dajinlu bicycle to Xiaolin village. Why is it at this point? When the couple opened the door curtain and went in, Zhao Yushan and MRS Zhao and MRS Zhao and MRS Zhao were sitting on the Kong and chatting. Seeing them suddenly coming at this time, they all looked worried. Father, mother, brother, sister-in-law, we were so upset that we couldn't sleep, so we ran over here. Zhao Yulan took off her shoes and sat cross-legged on the Kong as she spoke. It seems that we are going to get married in about 10 days, but the matter of sending off the relatives has not been resolved, and we are both dying of worry. Zhao Yushan waved his hand. The Zhou family doesn't have those particular people. If you want me to tell you, we'll just take a car and go together. Anyway, Chu Xia won't come back to get married, so there's no need to follow the family routine. Marriage is a big deal, once in a lifetime. How can it be done so hastily? Li Aiwan glared at her husband and frowned. But if you really beg those people, in the future. She glanced at Lin Baohe and said, in the future, you will have to let them decide. That's why we came here to discuss with you. Zhao Yulan looked at Mr. Zhao and MRS Zhao. Father, mother, what do you think should be done? This matter. Mr. Zhao took a puff of smoke before saying, your mother and I have thought about it a long time ago. According to your elder brother and sister-in-law, and our observation of Xiaozhou, the Zhou family is not the one with shallow eyes. Yes, even if we go to a village, we can't win face. I don't go into details about this reason, and you understand it? Where are the gates of the two families? Now that we don't fight for this aspect, there is no need to have to put on that spectrum. People's temper can't be changed, life is for ourselves. If they don't want to go, don't force them. The happy event belongs to our family, we can't force them to rejoice with us. Baohe, I say so, don't be unwilling. Father, what you said is the truth. Lin Baohe sighed. As long as my father and mother have 1% of your understanding, neither of us can be forced into this. As far as the big tile-roofed house we live in now, the old couple have already begun to think about whether to leave it for early spring or early autumn after Yulan and I are gone. Father, mother, when this word was heard in my ears, I was chilled. Those are my real parents. I am not dead yet. They are already thinking about dividing my inheritance. What do they think of early summer? Hearing what he said, Mr. Zhao, MRS Zhao and MRS Zhao Yushan and Li Aiwan all sighed in unison. Parents can be partial to this. It is really strange enough. At the same time, Lin Baijiang's family was also full of people. Under pressure, MRS Lin and MRS Lin moved to the house where Lin Baohe's family used to live. So now to discuss things, the whole family remits to Lin Baijiang's house. Mr. Lin, MRS Lin, MRS Lin Baijiang, MRS Lin Baohai, MRS Lin Chudong, Lin Chukiu and MRS Lin Chuchun all gathered in Dongjian. Everyone hold your breath. Whoever speaks first will lose. Lin Baohai sighed, Father, I want to hold my breath, but the second brother and his wife have gone to Xiaolin village. What if they change their minds? What can they change their mind? MRS Lin rolled her eyes. They treat that girl in Chuxia like a treasure, so they are willing to change their mind. If you don't have you to see off relatives, what will the people from all over the world say about them? Your second elder brother and second sister-in-law don't need that face. But they will definitely not let Chuxia lose that face. You just put 100 hearts in your stomach, within 3 days, they will come to our door to beg us, and they are afraid that it will be too late, so we just don't go, and let the people who greet us laugh at us. What mother said is true. Zheng Sanqiao continued to express his opinion following the old lady Lin's words. Baohe and his wife regard Chuxia as a sharp pain in their hearts. How can they be willing to let Chuxia suffer a little bit of grievance? Lin Baohai sighed, but I always feel uneasy in my heart. Baohai, although your second elder brother and his wife didn't say what kind of family Chuxia married. But, is it something ordinary people do to build such a row of big houses by using their connections in the village? It doesn't matter how old he is. As long as he marries the daughter of the Lin family, he has to do things for the Lin family, but this is the way to do things. Score who says. Last time we had a fight like that with your second brother and second sister-in-law can ask your son-in-law to help us? If not help. No matter how big an official is, what does it have to do with us? Dad and your mother are both old and have nothing to look forward to. I just want to make you and your elder brother have something to do. It's not that we don't want your second brother to have a future, but what can he do with his temper? Now I finally have such an opportunity. If I don't make good use of it, the old Lin's family will probably be like this. Therefore, you all listen to me and hold your breath. Let's keep calm. Your second elder brother and second sister-in-law can't hold their breath anymore. When they beg, father and mother will let them discuss with the son-in-law over there to solve the work problems of your brothers, and get Chuchun Chukyu out to go to college. On the east side, find a public unit close to home to work, and let's not mention other requirements. Mr. Lin has mentioned these plans not once, but every time he mentioned them, Lin Baojiang, Lin Baohai, Lin Baohai, and Lu Miking's eyes shone with joy. Therefore, when he emphasized it again, everyone who was flustered when they found out that Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan had gone to Xiaolin village by bicycle felt at ease. Yes, no matter how big an official is, if he doesn't help them, what's the use? Why don't you take advantage of the moment of marriage to make a request, and talk about it later? Who can listen to them? This is their only chance to fight for their own interests, especially after the old man and the old lady expelled Lin Baohe and his wife from the Lin family last time. It seems that this is the only way they can use. The big tile-roofed house of the second child is really nice. Zheng Sanqiao couldn't help sighing. Yang Aihua, the third daughter-in-law who has always been calm, also nodded. Yes, we are the only one in the whole commune. Living in that house makes it easy to breathe. If it weren't for the status and ability of the man married in early summer, would they dare to build such a top-notch house? Mrs. Lin curled her lips. I talk about loving my daughter all the time. At this time, don't you think about yourself first? Mother, I think Baohe and Yulan can agree to this matter because they love their daughters, just like Chu Xia, who can't lift their hands and shoulders. How can they be rare when they marry an ordinary family? It is estimated that Baohe and Yulan agreed to this marriage just because they didn't want their daughter to be angry. They are older, so what are they afraid of? After he dies, Shuxia will recruit a son-in-law. Will Yulan and Baohe be able to watch over their daughter all the time? Up. Hearing what her mother-in-law said, Lu Miking was stunned. Mother, I just can't figure it out these days. My second uncle and aunt love Chu Xia so much, how could I marry her regardless? Let you say this, I finally understand. Come here, my mother's brain is still active. Don't just talk nonsense, you can't interrupt when others are talking, and Lin Chudong can still reprimand him when his wife talks, even though his own wife doesn't listen to him. Lin Chudong strongly disapproves of his parents, grandparents, uncles, and aunts plotting against the second uncle's family. Unfortunately, he speaks lightly and no one listens to what he says. There is no other way. And then, after the meeting was over, he would quietly report to Lin Baohe and his wife so that they could make plans in advance. Like him, there is also Lin Chuchun who disagrees with this matter. Every time the family discusses, he always sits aside with a sarcasm on his face, and he has repeatedly stated that he does not want to go to college, and he will wait enough age goes back then. And this year, he did get his wish, but as of today, Uncle Lin and Aunt Lin haven't agreed to let him enlist in the army. What they want more is to let him go to college. In order to prevent him from secretly enlisting in the army like he secretly went to the military inspection, Lin Baohai and Yang Aihua hid his enlistment notice and used it as a threat to let him attend the family meeting. Otherwise, he wouldn't have to suffer this crime. Like narrow-minded weasels, they stared eagerly at Chu Xia's fat chicken, wishing they could tear it up and swallow it right away. How is this like a family? I guess even if it's an enemy, that's it, right? At nearly 10 o'clock, Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan returned to Dalian village. At about the same time, Lin Baohe and Yang Aihua also returned home with their sons. The tug of war continues. The next day, Mr. Lin and Mrs. Lin waited leisurely at home all day. On the third day, Mr. Lin and Mrs. Lin waited at home with a little expectation. On the fourth day, Mr. Lin and Mrs. Lin waited at home anxiously for a whole day. On the fifth day, Mr. Lin and Mrs. Lin waited at home with great anticipation. On the sixth day, everyone in the Lin family got together and waited anxiously for a day. The seventh day. Until the 11th day, Mr. Lin, Mrs. Lin, Lin Baojiang, Lin Baohai and others did not wait for Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe, who came to beg them. At this moment, they really couldn't calm down any longer. Tomorrow, they would come to pick up their relatives who were going to the wedding. They didn't believe that Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan really dared to abandon them. Compared with the anxieties of the few people on Mr. Lin's side, Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan were not at ease. However, it was because of their daughter's marriage, which had nothing to do with Mr. Lin and others. They were going to Zhao's house. It was discussed thoroughly that night. Only the relatives who love Chu Xia are invited to attend the wedding, and the others, stand aside. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 198. There are 2 days until the wedding. Chu Xia sat in the office, feeling a little dazed. After more than 2 months, she has adapted to the life in 401, and it can even be said that she somewhat likes this kind of life. When she came to this era, at first she lived passively, but later, she worked hard to blend in. However, some thoughts unique to this era were difficult for her to truly understand no matter what. In this era when relative freedom of speech is not allowed, she does not want to cause trouble to the family who loves her the most, so most of the time, whether she understands or not, she is silent. If it weren't for her undeniable appearance, no one would have felt her presence during the 3 months in Division A. Yes, if she didn't have such a face, would Zhou Mikang have taken a fancy to her? Without Zhou Mikang's favor, would Zheng Meili treat her kindly? Even without such a face, would Jing Zhe recognize her? Or, her thinking is a little bit extreme, but the reality is like this: her face is sometimes a curse and sometimes a blessing. After coming to 401 and following Song Xiao's side, she gradually developed a sense of belonging in her heart because the life here is similar to her college life. Song Xiao was still not very close to her, but cared about her teaching. Although Wang Jing was a little moody, she didn't make things difficult for her. Usually when I go back, I will be accompanied by Luo Xiaoxian, Lu Meijun, and Qiaoning Ai. We go to the cafeteria to eat together, go to the bathhouse to take a bath together, and take a stroll in the yard together. When the allowance is given, the money is sent to parents, knowing that they live in a spacious house, knowing that they can eat and wear warm. She didn't worry as much anymore. If it's been this way. How good would it be? After marriage, will her life still be like this? Since more than 2 months. She only went to Zhou's house once, and everyone else treated her very warmly, but Mrs. Zhou always had a cold expression on her face. Seeing that she was uncomfortable at Zhou's house, Zhou Mikang talked to her once, to the effect that he doesn't go home often, since she doesn't like to go, let's be happy with his friends. But what about after marriage? Don't you want to go? It seems unrealistic. But she is really not the kind of person who is all-rounder. She doesn't like to face too many people, but all this is a foregone conclusion. She can't always ask Zhou Mikang for whatever she wants, without giving. Missed again, Song Xiao slapped Chu Xia's head with a slap. How many times have I said that as a doctor, the most taboo thing is to be distracted? Chu Xia shrank her neck in pain. Teacher, this is a special situation for me. If you want to be a doctor, you must allow yourself to work during working hours, no special circumstances. Yes, she answered yes, but Chusia felt a little disapproving in her heart. She is a human being, not a machine, so how could she be able to go to work all at once? Lose your emotions. Song Xiao looked at Wang Jing. Wang Jing, you should get off work first. Yes, teacher, Wang Jing replied, quickly packed up her things and left. Song Xiao closed the office door. Sitting opposite Chuxia, Lin Chuxia, you may disagree with what I just said. But, I want to warn you, if you want to become a real doctor, you must do this. When a doctor goes to the operating table, what he holds in his hand is not a scalpel, but someone else's life. Would you feel guilty if your life was lost because your emotions affected your judgment? At the same time, what can guilt solve? Hearing what Song Xiao said, the disapproval in Chu Xia's heart was swept away. Teacher, I'm sorry. It is difficult for you to meet this requirement now. What I hope is that you can really pay attention to the problem I mentioned and let yourself meet the requirement earlier. Chu Xia nodded solemnly, yes. Tomorrow you will start to take your wedding leave. It is a major event in your life. I will not force you to devote all your energy to your studies during your wedding leave. However, I hope that when you come back, you can immediately devote yourself to your studies. Remember, are you staying? Yes. Song Xiao rarely saw a smile on his face. Lin Chuxia, do you know what I admire most about you? I'm a quick learner. He he. Song Xiao laughed, you are quite immodest, but, although your study efficiency is higher than others, what I admire most is not this, but your lack of vanity. Being able to marry into the Zhou family is the dream of many girls, but you, under such circumstances, can choose to continue studying medicine and not announce the news of your marriage. Really, very rare. When Chuxia asked for leave this time, only Dean Su and Song Xiao knew that she was going to get married. The official answer the others got was that Lin Chuxia was seconded by the art troupe for a few days. In the 2 months since I came to 401, the head of the art troupe, Wang, has never given up, and even came to see Dean Su in person. Therefore, many people in the courtyard know that the art troupe is interested in Chu Xia. Of course, it's not that there are no bitter words because of this. However, Chu Xia's life circle is very simple. Apart from being with Song Xiao, even with Luo Xiaoqing and others, no one really has the opportunity to discuss her in front of her. This time, when she asked for marriage leave, she went to head Wang for help, but because of his love for her, he actually agreed without hesitation. The reason why Song Xiao admired her was that if ordinary girls had this kind of opportunity, their first reaction would be to show off to their little sisters. How could they be like her? The first thing they thought of was how not to affect their studies. After working in the hospital for so many years and bringing in many doctors and nurses, Song Xiao is too aware of the jealousy among girls, and it is impossible for her to protect her all the time, so the safest way is to hide her clumsiness first, and wait until she really has something to do. After gaining strength, the slander of jealousy has nowhere to do it. Thank you, teacher, for your understanding. Chu Xia sincerely bowed to Song Xiao. It's really my luck to be your student. No, Song Xiao waved her hands, if your mother-in-law and Xiaomi hadn't begged me, I wouldn't have accepted you as my apprentice. To be honest, the first time I saw you, I regretted that I agreed to them. But after this period of time, I am very glad that I agreed to them at the beginning. I also feel that they are really thinking about you. If you follow Jingzhe, no matter how well you study, you will inevitably have some gossip. Lin Chuxia, you should understand what I mean, right? Teacher, I understand. In fact, when I was in my hometown, my parents were always worried about me. Chu Xia smiled wryly and spread his hands. After all, my appearance is too unconventional. Non-mainstream, I pondered for a while. Song Xiao couldn't help laughing. This metaphor is not bad, it is both image and arrogant, not bad. Teacher, thank you, Chu Xia bowed solemnly again. How could she fail to see that Song Xiao's stay was actually to alleviate her fear of marriage? The way she looks now, 10% reveals her uneasiness about getting married. And Song Xiao, who had a good relationship with Lin Yangqiu, presumably knew how Mrs. Zhou treated her, so she deliberately stayed to talk to her today. The purpose is naturally self-evident. She eloquently stated that everything about her today was arranged by her mother-in-law and Zhou Mikang, and she also explained their feelings for her, so naturally they wanted her to understand. She is valued by the Zhou family, so there is nothing terrible about being married. She stated that she would start studying immediately after she came back, and she was telling her in disguise. Don't be afraid of what this marriage will make you lose. What you want will not change. Or, as she said, it is most suitable for her to be her apprentice. In an instant, the haze buried in my heart disappeared. Isn't it just marriage? Anyway, sooner or later, what is she afraid of? Saying goodbye to Song Xiao, when she returned to the dormitory, Luo Xiaoxian and Lu Meijun had already helped her send her meals back, and Jiao Ningyi was on the night shift and was not there. Chu Xia, eat quickly, it's getting cold, Luo Xiaoxian said while opening the lunchbox and pushing it in front of Chu Xia. Boom, the lunchbox fell under the table and was knocked upside down on the ground. What the hell are you panicking about? Lu Meijun quickly found a dustpan, swept the food that had been scooped up all over the floor into the dustpan, and rushed to Chu Xia helplessly. She was so dazed when she called back. I asked her what happened. What's the matter? She said it's okay. Of course Chu Xia knew why Luo Xiaoxian was in a trance. She had always wanted to tell Lu Meijun about her getting married, but she couldn't find a chance to speak, so at this moment, she couldn't comfort Luo Xiaoxian in front of Lu Meijun. Let's eat less at night, 2 servings are barely enough. Lu Meijun pushed her lunchbox to the middle as she spoke, and Luo Xiaoxian came to her senses at this time, also with an uncomfortable expression on her face. How about, I'll make another copy. No need, Chu Xia held her down. I don't have any food at this time, I still have some snacks, so let's make do with it. Chu Xia, I heard that you were temporarily seconded by the art troupe, Lu Meijun asked while eating. Luo Xiaoxian's chopsticks faltered, she lowered her head and continued to chop the rice. No, I'm getting married, that's just an excuse. After some hesitation, Chu Xia decided to tell Lu Meijun about her marriage. Since they met, the other party has been very sincere to her, so now, since the words come to this point, she doesn't want to talk about it anymore. Lie to her. Get married. Lu Meijun looked at Chu Xia incredulously. You mean, you want to get married? You want to get married? Chu Xia nodded. Yes, I am going to get married. Lu Meijun looked at Luo Xiaoxian. Is it because of this that you are not right today? Luo Xiaoxian nodded, didn't make a sound, and didn't know why. Thinking of getting married in early summer, she wanted to cry. Chu Xia. Lu Meijun hugged Chu Xia and began to cry. No wonder you've been depressed. I'm not happy about this matter. Chu Xia didn't know how to answer, so she had to keep silent, but her silence made Lu Meijun even more misunderstood. Chu Xia, you are a soldier, be brave. If you really don't like it, just break off the engagement. I can't retreat anymore. Chu Xia had no choice but to say. I can't get back. Thinking of Chu Xia's father's illness last time, Lu Meijun immediately figured out the truth in her own brain, and based on the principle of not taking people's scars and making them hurt even more, she quickly changed the subject. When will you get married? The day after tomorrow. Chu Xia, have a safe journey, I'm waiting for your return. Lu Meijun quickly ended this sad conversation. When she said that, Chu Xia couldn't go into details, so she could only respond, well, I'll be back sooner. Luo Xiaoxian, who was originally in a depressed mood over there, suddenly felt joyful when he heard the conversation between the two go farther and farther on the avenue of misunderstanding. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First Marriage Then Love, Mr. Mayor Please Be Kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 199. Oh. When the first ray of sunlight pierces through the mist and sprinkles on the earth, the peculiar wake-up numbers in the countryside come and go one after another. The moment the tweet sounded, Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe sat up almost at the same time. Father, you can't sleep either, Zhao Yulan smiled and handed Lin Baohe the new clothes. How can I sleep? Lin Baohe sighed while putting on his clothes. I'm both happy and flustered. How do you think the days go by so fast? Our Xia family is getting married soon. Zhao Yulan dressed neatly and got off the Kong. Okay, stop nagging, come down and order the accompanying things with me, don't miss any more. I've ordered it no less than 10 times, and there's nothing I've specified. Lin Baohe sighed as he spoke. How can I feel at ease when we accompany you to send that little thing? Chu Xia and Zhou Mikang's new house is in the Zhou family's mansion. The Zhou family has prepared all kinds of furniture. The Zhou family has prepared everything for Chu Xia, such as sewing machines, bicycles and watches, which are popular now. So, except for the quilt, there are also cakes, chestnuts and dates, but they couldn't find anything suitable to accompany them. Originally, the couple thought that no matter what the Zhou family said, they would accompany Chu Xia with another set, but later when they planned to go shopping with Zhao Yushan, the other party analyzed it for the couple. When I get married in early summer, I want to live in my parents-in-law's house, and there is nothing wrong with the things in the house. As for the bicycle, sewing machine and so on, they all take up space, so there is no need to put them there for what? The watch that Chu Xia wears costs more than 600 yuan. There is no need for them to buy a cheap one, but an expensive one. There is also the suspicion of deliberately suppressing the Zhou family, so it's not easy to accompany. Anything else? Jewelry. They thought about it, and they decided to give up. In the past few years, everyone melted the jewelry in the big steel smelting, and now there is no one wearing jewelry anywhere. Besides, the Zhou family is a well-established family. If you don't like it, it's not good for your daughter. Clothing. The daughter is a soldier. Clothes don't wear too much after they are made, and the appearance of the clothes is changed every year, and it is not fashionable if they are made too much, and in the end it is a waste of money to suppress the bottom of the box. After much deliberation, the couple had no choice but to accompany them with what they could. But in the heart, after all, it is not practical. Hearing Lin Baohe mention it again, Zhao Yulan also sighed. Xiao Zhou sent a special telegram telling us not to buy those useless ones. Forget it, let's do it first. When we have a grandson, let's spend the money on the grandson. It's the same. It can only be like this. Hey, Lin Baohe sighed and got off the Kong, and went to open the gate of the courtyard. Just in time, I saw Luo Gangshan and his wife walking over in brand new clothes. The fat ant laughed from a distance. I guess you two should get up. A group of people entered the house, and the fat ant looked into Zhao Yulan's eyes. Didn't sleep all night. I can't sleep, Zhao Yulan just laughed. You will know when you marry your daughter. Raising a daughter is like this. When you don't find a good husband's house, you worry. If you find a good husband's house and get married, you're also worried, the fat ant said while walking to the room where the dowry is kept. Let's order again, so that no one will be left behind. Luo Gangshan smiled and shook his head. I'm dazed, and I'll talk to me when I come together, and I won't be relieved until I order the dowry again. Yulan is the same. I have to order the dowry when I get off the Kong. Lin Baohe let Luo Gangshan into the room, and handed him a cigarette. Have the work in the village been arranged? Luo Gangshun nodded, well, it's nothing to worry about, it's glorious to watch. Guangrong is Chen Guangrong, the grandson of Grandpa Dagong. He was elected as the village director last month and is Luo Gangshun's deputy. Taking advantage of this time, go and see the red flag. The last time I saw that child, he was stronger than before. Luo Gangshun sighed, what's the use of being strong, but not strong-minded? The fat ant who came over after ordering the dowry waved her hands when she heard the two men talking about this topic. Let's not talk about this on the big day, and after finishing the wedding for Xia, I will go to that brat Hunky to see if he still recognizes me. I don't know my parents. It sounds like a car is coming. Zhao Yulan poked her head over and said, then ran out quickly. Several other people hurriedly followed, and opened the gate to see, isn't it? A big green bread with red silk was parked outside the courtyard gate. The car door opened, and Zhou Mikang and Zhou Hanliang got out of the car together. Father, mother, uncle, aunt. Uncle, aunt. Leader Zhou, Instructor Zhou, you have worked hard. Xiao Zhou, Instructor Zhou, hurry into the room and drink some water. Several people greeted each other and entered the room. Neighbors who were close by heard the sound and ran out to watch the excitement, turning the car around, and rubbing their hands over and over again. Lin Chukiu, who was sent out to inquire about the news, saw the big bread parked at the second uncle's house, let go and ran to the old house of the Lin family. Grandma, Grandma, here we come. Here we come. In the old house of the Lin family, Mrs. Lin and Mrs. Lin were sitting on the Kong wearing brand new clothes. Lin Baojiang and Lin Baohai were sitting on the edge of the Kong. Lin Chudong and Lin Chuchun were sitting on stools under the Kong, all wearing brand new. Hearing Lin Chukiu yelling all the way in, Mrs. Lin and Mrs. Lin stood up straight, and Mr. Lin waved at the elder son and the younger son, you all go back to the room over there. The second son will call us later, we have to go first grind him. Father Lin Baohai hesitated, what if the second brother doesn't come to see us? Keep your heart in your stomach. If he doesn't want to stay in Dalian village anymore, he won't come to us. He's comparing himself with us. Who can hold his breath? You, at such an old age, why don't you come here? Can't you hold your breath? Mrs. Lin snorted, it's not like you don't know how precious the second child is, Chu Xia. We were in a panic for the past few days. I didn't realize until your second aunt said it. He was thinking and asked us to give it to you. He blushed, and let us not get any credit from him. The second child doesn't have that kind of heart, she is his wife. Hey, this heart is too dark. Father, mother, let's go to the room over there first, Lin Baojiang said while winking at Zheng Sanqiao, and the couple took the lead towards the west room. According to the customs in the countryside, the east house is the most respected. Since Mr. Lin and Mrs. Lin moved here, Lin Baojiang and his wife gave up the east house to Mr. Lin and Mrs. Lin, and they moved to the west room. Hearing what the old lady said, Lin Baohai was completely relieved, and pulled Yang Ihua to follow the footsteps of his eldest brother and sister-in-law to the west, and told Lin Chukiu to continue to inquire about the news. As for Lin Chuchun, he curled his lips and went to sit in the yard on his own. As soon as he sat down, he saw Mr. Lin's brother and brother-in-law, second Grandpa Lin and second Grandma Lin running in one after the other with Gudong and Gudong. Why do you sit here in early spring? Don't let the dew wet your clothes, second Grandma Lin told him, and ran into the east room with her little feet. Lin Chuchun couldn't help curling her lips again. Second Grandma Lin's small feet usually hurt when she walks, but now, how come her feet don't hurt when she runs so fast? A bunch of fools. The second uncle and the second aunt didn't intend to invite them to go at all, they were still there and wanted to get a hold of themselves. He wanted to see how happy they could be. He can't talk about how close he is to his second uncle and second aunt. Anyway, he just can't understand how his grandparents, uncle and aunt, and his own parents bully the second uncle and aunt. This time, after the whole family discussed the result, he went to the second uncle's house to report the letter, and he left without waiting for the second uncle to say anything. The second auntie ran out and grabbed him, her expression hesitant to speak. He is not a fool, of course he understands that the second aunt is grateful for his actions, but he doesn't know how to tell him. Then, with a cold face, he broke away from the second aunt's hand and ran home. He didn't want his second uncle and second aunt to accept his favor, and he didn't mean to help them, he was just returning the favor of that stupid cousin who was only a few days older than him. Humph, that stupid cousin still wonders why he didn't help Choo-Choo bully her. She's so stupid. If it wasn't for the time when he slipped into the river, she pulled her, and ended up sliding herself in, he would have you changed your attitude towards her? What a fool. Stupid to die. Grandma, let's go, Lin Chuchun was muttering to himself, when he heard his twin brother's voice come in again. He stood up to meet Lin Chukyu, who ran into the door, and followed him to the east room. In the room, second Grandma Lin's spit was flying all over the place, and when she heard Lin Chukyu's shout, she drooped her mouth and said, "This child, how could he leave so easily, isn't that a waste of work?" Lin Chukyu gasped heavily, "Hurry up, really?" The old lady Lin had a sullen face. "Your second uncle and your second aunt asked you to come and call us to leave, so you came and called? You silly boy, have you forgotten what your grandparents taught you? Didn't tell you, don't let them see it." "They didn't see me, they left." The car drove away. Lin Chukyu, who was relieved, finally expressed his intentions neatly. "The car drove away," Mrs. Lin repeated, slapping her thigh fiercely, her voice raised an octave. "What did you say?" "You said the car drove away." Mr. Lin hurriedly patted Choo-Choo's back to help him calm down. "Choo-Choo, speak slowly, is the car coming towards us, or is it leaving the village?" The four people sitting on the Kong all held their breath, and stared at Lin Chukyu with wide-eyed eyes, with obvious, uneasy. Driving out of the village, Lin Chukyu said as he dragged Mr. Lin to the Kong, "Master, come down quickly, let's chase after him by bike. If we don't go, we really won't be taken. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind." Author, Zhao Nuan Nuan. Chapter 200. Dear friends, Nuan's manuscript is locked in the small black room, and I can't copy it out. I have no choice but to paste the part on another machine first. Please wait for half an hour before Nuan can copy the manuscript out of the small black room. I changed them all at once. It's so pitiful. The little black house doesn't recognize copying or typing the same words. I accidentally pressed the wrong number. There are too many locks, so I can't get out. Go make up the word count and wait for the little black room to warm up. The little black room is too bullying. Leaving the village, Lin Chukyu said as he pulled Mr. Lin to the Kong, "Master, come down quickly, let's chase after him by bike. If we don't go, we really won't be taken." Chapter 193. Did you leave the village? Second Grandma Lin stared at Lin Chukyu incredulously. "You said you left the village." "Grandpa, hurry up." Lin Chukyu ignored second Grandma Lin, and pulled the frowning Mrs. Lin off the Kong. "They must be waiting at the entrance of the village, they saw me." "Playing with me?" "Humph," Elder Lin snorted coldly, and shook off Lin Chukyu's hand on his arm. "If you sit down for me honestly, I won't believe it, and he won't invite me." "Grandpa," Lin Chukyu looked anxious, "what if the second uncle doesn't come? Chu Xia married a high-ranking official, and from now on, we'll have to be in her honor, Grandpa." Second Grandpa Lin also persuaded, "Yeah, big brother, if you can't do it, give Bao he and his wife soft. Last time, you kicked them out of the Lin family in front of the whole village. They are holding grudges in their hearts. Not for the sake of it, for your own sake, for the sake of your sons and grandchildren. Be soft." "No, Mrs. Lin gritted her teeth resentfully. He crawled out of my stomach, and asked me to subdue him? Unless the sun comes out in the west, since ancient times, there has been no such thing as I subdue my son. Son. Why kick him out of the Lin family? He is the seed of Lao Lin's family, but has he thought a little bit about Lao Lin's family? No matter what happened to the Shui family later, at that time, if the Shui family was willing to marry a girl from the Lin family, that would be Gao Pan from the Lin family. One of his daughters is married off, in exchange for the good future of a few nephews, but in his heart, these nephews are not as good as his daughter. Isn't he a treasure of his daughter? Take it easy. Sister-in-law is saying that if the sender has no brothers and sisters-in-law, how can the man think highly of it? The second child's family is so precious to Chu Xia. Nothing can make Chu Xia lose in this matter. Let's just wait. If you are not afraid of delaying the time, they will consume it. Let's see if we can afford it, or they can afford it. What happened? Yes, Dad. Mom, what's going on? The couple hiding in the west room also came together. The car to pick up the bride has left the village, Lin Chuqiu hurriedly said. Leaving the village, Lin Beijiang frowned and looked at Mr. Lin. Father, what should we do? Why did they leave the village? They don't care about Chu Xia's face anymore. Zheng Sanqiao looked puzzled. Impossible. My second elder brother and second sister-in-law regard Chu Xia as her eyeball. How can I not think about her? Lin Baohai slapped his thigh. I said, my dear second brother, is it okay to let brothers and nephews get some light? It's so uncomfortable, and you've made such a bluff. Father, mother, why don't we give them face? No. The old couple of the Lin family said in unison. Yes, I can't give it. Second Grandma Lin also nodded. Second Grandpa Lin hesitated for a moment, but said nothing. Hey, Lin Chuchun snorted through his nostrils. I said, are you still dreaming? Chuchun, Yang Ihua glared at his son. Grandpa and Grandma are feeling uncomfortable, so don't make trouble. Lin Chuchun spread his hands. Okay, I won't make trouble, you guys continue to wait. What do you know? Elder Lin looked at Lin Chuchun. I know, you have reported to them these 2 days. What did they tell you? I didn't say anything, Lin Chuchun shrugged. I just told the second uncle and the second aunt what you discussed, and then the second uncle and the second aunt really didn't say anything. However, I can see that they have been heartbroken by you, so I don't intend to make you embarrass yourself. Oh, no, it's to embarrass Chu Xia's people. You are all right about one thing, Chu Xia is the eyeball of the second uncle and the second aunt, and they can't let Chu Xia suffer. If anyone suffers, should we let everyone go to fight the autumn wind and Chu Xia's face will not be bright, or simply go to a few people? Is Chu Xia's face dull? Think it over and stop daydreaming here. Grandma loves you for nothing. Mrs. Lin stared at Chuchun and panted heavily. When are you going to fight the autumn wind? Isn't it because of you that grandparents are fighting? I do not need. I need it. Lin Chuqiu stared at Lin Chuchun bitterly. Are you the Lin family's seed? Who are you after? I don't want anyone, I'm telling the truth. Lin Chuchun squinted at his younger brother. You'd better get rid of your thoughts of glory. Relying on yourself is worse than relying on anyone, understand? Lin Baohai glared at his son. Shut up, both of you. He turned to look at old man Lin, who was sitting there peacefully. Father, why do I think Chuchun's analysis is right, or I'll take a ride to see. Second brother is the second sister-in-law waiting for us at the entrance of the village. What are you looking at? Mrs. Lin glared at him. Didn't you take advantage of their wishes by sending them there? Second Grandma Lin answered, yeah, when they saw you, they knew we were in a hurry at home. Tell me, how can we continue singing in the next scene? I'm off to work, Lin Chudong murmured, then turned and walked out. Stop, Lin Beijiang glared at his son. Tell me the truth, did your second uncle say anything to you? No, Lin Chudong shook his head. Second uncle and aunt didn't say anything. Did you tell them what we discussed? I didn't say it, Lin Chudong shook his head again. I wanted to say it. But once I started, second uncle wouldn't let me say it. He said he knew everything, so I didn't need to say it. Lin Chuchun said, I went ahead of you. If you don't speak, no one will think you are dumb, Lin Beijiang glared at Lin Chuchun. Turning to look at Lin Chudong, I am your father and father, are you with your second uncle or your father? Lin Chudong's face flushed red, father, I really don't know. You are an idiot, your grandparents and parents trust you so much, how can you do such a thing? Lu Miking poked her finger on Lin Chudong's head, who do you think you are doing wrong? Although the daughter-in-law was talking to herself, she saw her son being bullied by her daughter-in-law. Zheng Sanqiao immediately became unhappy, okay, don't bully him. Lu Miking pursed her lips aggrievedly, and then said, how about I go find Guangxin to find out the news? This is a way. Second Grandma Lin looked at Mr. Lin, let Miking ask, we don't have enough confidence to guess like this. After thinking about it for a while, Mr. Lin nodded, okay, she is your prospective brother-in-law. It's reasonable to go to him. Alas, it's really embarrassing to ask outsiders about your own affairs. Don't wait for the old man to say anything. Lu Miking stuffed Chuan-er into Lin Chudong's arms, and ran out quickly. She is not as confident as Mr. Lin and Mrs. Lin, after all, she used to live with Lin Baohe and his wife. And it was she who was often at home, and she knew them and Lin Chuxia well. But he knows more than the old man and the old lady. It might be Chuxia's idea not to let people from the Lin family attend the wedding. If it was Lin Chuxia from before, she might not think so, but during that period of time later, she could see the changes in Chuxia clearly. Didn't everyone say that Chuxia married an older official? Daughter-in-law, I'm still not sure how to deal with it. With that small appearance, how many men don't care about work? Didn't the Shui family just try to imitate her? They all feel that if they don't turn the limelight around this time, they won't be able to get the glory of Chuxia in the future, but if the second uncle's family throws them away, where will they get the glory? If it weren't for the fact that she has such a low sense of existence with Mrs. Lin and Mrs. Lin, she would have advised the old couple not to be so stubborn. The car carried Lin Baohe, Luo Gangshun and Grandpa Dagong out of Dalian village, and turned straight to Xiaolin village to pick up Mr. Zhao, Mrs. Zhao, and Zhao Yushan, as well as Zhao Yulan, the eldest sister Zhao Yuing, who had been waiting there for a long time. Abducted to the village of Chuxia's sister-in-law. Lin Baojuan's body has fully recovered, and her mother-in-law is not happy about her going to Chuxia's wedding. One day less work means one less day's work points. The key point is that the daughter-in-law is going to eat delicious food and go to a big city to see the scene. This is what makes her most unhappy. Seeing Lin Baojuan put on brand new clothes early in the morning, old lady Luan's heart was blocked, and she couldn't help frowning and snorting coldly, why, are you going on a blind date? Luan Qingshu hurriedly said, Mother, Baojuan is just such a niece, and she has been married so far away, so she should go see her off. There is a big tile-roofed house built in her house, and she has never been invited to live there for a while. Mother, my second elder brother and second sister-in-law asked me to live here, but our family has to work. How can I live there and not come back? They always remember you, and the cloud cake and mung bean cake are specially brought to you. What you eat? Old lady Luan snorted, do you think I'm rare? Her voice was softer than before. Mom, the second brother and the second sister-in-law are waiting for me well. My parents and their relationship are not very good. My eldest brother and third brother have a normal relationship with them. With me following, we can be stronger. In order to make her mother-in-law feel at ease, Lin Baojuan had no choice but to explain in detail. She knew that her mother-in-law would look down on her even more if she said this, but she really had no other way. Old lady Luan is like this, as long as she feels that she has something to suppress you now, she is comfortable. When I was young, your father took me to the provincial capital and bought me delicious food and new clothes. It's not like I haven't seen the world before. Lin Baojuan hurriedly answered, Mother has much more knowledge than I do. I can't compare with Mother. I just went with her to see off my relatives. Maybe I came back before I could tell the difference between East, West, South, and North. Luan Dejiang rubbed his sleepy eyes and leaned over, Mother, can you discuss it with my second uncle and aunt? Take me and Xiaoxiang too, let's find out the way. Then I will definitely let my mother distinguish between East, West, South, North. The old lady Luan just stared at him, you don't earn work points if you eat your mother to death. What do you eat? Luan Dejiang giggled, Grandma, if I go with you, won't it save our family's food? After hearing what her grandson said, Mrs. Luan's heart was moved immediately, Baojuan, why don't you take Kingshu and Dejiang Xiaoxiang with you, and I'll stay at home to look after the house. With this change in attitude, Lin Baojuan has black hair, how could she have the nerve to take the whole family to a wedding banquet? Mother. Isn't this very good? What's wrong? Didn't you say that your second brother and second sister-in-law treat you well? Mother, don't embarrass Baojuan. Our family just accepts the gift of 2 yuan. How can we go to have dinner with the whole family? We are embarrassed to go if they let us go. If our family Dejiang gets married, there are relatives who do this. We're not happy either, are we? The old lady Luan glared at her son, I've always known your daughter-in-law, my mother. Everything I say is wrong. Vote for recommendation, monthly ticket, your support. That's my biggest motivation. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 202. Yesterday, the small black house was worth 3,000, but Yuxia when repaired and lost more than 2,000, which is equivalent to resizing. Broken black house, I hate it. Don't enter this door again if you are capable, Mrs. Lin yelled at the backs of second Grandpa Lin and second Grandma Lin, and turned to look at old Master Lin unwillingly, are you really going? How? Go if you know where it is. Mr. Lin's face was as dark as the bottom of the pot, you are a woman who has more than failed to succeed, tell me, just throw it away at home, what else do we have in the future? Face to stay in the village. You old man, Mrs. Lin scratched Mr. Lin's face fiercely with her skinny hand, leaving a few blood stains, but she continued to scold without blinking her eyelids. You are a heartless old man, you have been with you all your life, so you can't leave you alone. So why don't you let the big cart come to pick you up? Who can show you how long the donkey's face is? Old man, what's wrong with you, what's wrong with you? Seeing Mr. Lin fell straight on the Kong with a gudong, Mrs. Lin was frightened, she stopped shouting and scolding, and hurriedly helped Mr. Lin up. Yang Aihua, who is proficient in medical skills, hurriedly stopped Mrs. Lin, Mother, don't touch your father, Bao Hai, hurry up and find Dr. Gao. Don't. Mr. Lin scratched his hands, don't go. Father. Lin Bao Hai, who was hesitating, breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Mr. Lin woke up, Father, why do you feel uncomfortable, let me tell Dr. Gao. Let him bring all the medicines. Father is fine, I just made your second brother angry with that bastard, when Mr. Lin spoke. The chest was heaving violently, Mrs. Lin was terrified, she quickly grabbed Mr. Lin's hand and said, Old man, I won't scold you anymore, don't scare me, what will you do if you leave me? Don't say something depressing, help me up. Mrs. Lin obediently helped Mr. Lin up. Both Lin Baojiang and Lin Bao Hai stepped forward to join hands, and helped Mr. Lin up slowly, letting him sit leaning against the quilt. With a long breath, Mr. Lin said in a hoarse voice, 3 sons and 1 daughter, how big is this battle? I always thought that I, Lin Guangjian, would be enviable in my life. Now, okay. That's great. Cough cough cough. Mrs. Lin hurriedly helped him pat his back. Old man, don't be as savvy as a beast. If you get angry, you will suffer yourself. He is so ruthless, so don't blame him for being ruthless to him in the future. I am his own father. Not to mention inferior to his old father-in-law and old mother-in-law, even Chen Fenggang and Luo Gangshun. Can't compare. Is this my real son? Old lady. Did you say he is my own son? Old man Lin was spitting and fell into a state of madness. He couldn't accept that his second son actually left him behind in such a big matter. I can't understand what the second son is doing. But now the facts tell him, things. It's really out of his control. Lin Baohe, Zhao Yulan, and Luo Gangshun, Chen Fenggang, Mrs. Zhao, Mrs. Zhao Yishan, Li Aiwan, Zhao Yuiying, Wang Meifeng, Zhao Yukui, Zhang Xiaoqing, Zhao Yufeng, Zhao Yulan's second brother, Lin Baojuan's family of 4, a group of 19 people. The second send-off team. They have never traveled far, and the people sitting in the car were a little restrained at first, but then they all stared excitedly outside and chattered non-stop, especially when they saw the people outside the car looking in curiously. A few juniors ERER's little face flushed with excitement. On the way, Zhou Mikang took everyone to have lunch, rested for a while, and then continued to set off. This made Lin Baojuan, who was puzzled since she got in the car and didn't find Mrs. Lin, and Mrs. Lin waited until mid-afternoon, when everyone who had been excited for nearly a day closed their eyes drowsily. Watching Lin Baohe sit in the back of the car and talk alone. Second brother, parents, eldest brother, and sister-in-law, are they making things difficult for you? After getting in the car, she didn't find the old couple of the Lin family and Lin Baojiang and Lin Baohai, and her heart sank suddenly. On this happy wedding day, the woman's elders wouldn't it be contemptuous not to attend? It's just that, in front of everyone, especially in front of her new son-in-law, she couldn't say anything, so she suppressed her doubts. At this moment, she finally saw some opportunities. How could she hold back any longer? Lin Baohe shook his head. No, I didn't go to them without waiting for Lin Baojuan to ask again. Lin Baohai told Lin Baojuan the detailed reason. Chu Xia's son-in-law really won't underestimate Chu Xia. Second brother, are you sure? Lin Baojuan was obviously still skeptical of Lin Baohe's statement. Don't worry, your sister-in-law and I can't think about Chu Xia. It's not like you don't know the temper of our parents. If you really let them go, Chu Xia will be ashamed. Lin Baohe couldn't help sighing heavily. Doing this, the second brother feels bad, but the second brother really has no other way. Lin Baojuan still looked worried. Even if the people on Chuxia's son-in-law side don't underestimate Chuxia because of this, how will the second brother and second sister-in-law treat each other in the village? No matter whether the parents are right or wrong, the second brother is their relative after all. Son, if you put them aside for this kind of thing, what will others think of the second brother and the second sister-in-law? Lin Baohe waved his hands indifferently. Others can look at it however they like. We are just a girl like Chu Xia, we can't let her be wrong just to let others say we are good. After a long silence, Lin Baojuan sighed faintly. Xia is a blessed one. Lin Baohe liked to hear these words, and immediately nodded in agreement. Well, Xia is a lucky one. Seeing Mr. Zhao and Mrs. Zhao sandwiching Zhou Mikang from left to right, dozing off with his head on his shoulder, Lin Baojuan couldn't help chuckling. Second brother, Uncle Zhao and Aunt Zhao are really rare in the early summer, son-in-law. And Lin Baohe nodded. On the way, whether in the car or to eat. The old man and the old lady never left Zhou Mikang, as if they were afraid that he would be snatched away by others. It really made him happy, but at the same time it was a bit sour to marry Zhao Yulan for so many years. I haven't seen the old man and the old lady treat anyone so rare. Glancing at Lin Baohe's expression, Lin Baojuan burst into laughter. Second brother, you can also eat your son-in-law's jealousy, you are really promising. Who is jealous? Lin Bao. He firmly refused to admit it. I almost have a bottle of vinegar on my face, and I'm still so stubborn. Lin Baojuan stood up with a smile, sat next to Zhao Yulan, and whispered in Zhao Yulan's ear, second sister-in-law, second brother is jealous of son-in-law's yacht. Woolen cloth. Zhao Yulan turned her head and glanced at her husband. The smile on the corner of his mouth grew wider and wider, then he'll just wait to die of sourness. Xiaozhou loves Chu Xia so much, sooner or later, he will snatch his precious girl away. The relatives of the Lin family were arranged in a 3-story villa half an hour away from the Zhou family. There were 5 bedrooms on each floor, and it was very spacious for everyone to live in. Because of the custom that men and women cannot meet before marriage, Chu Xia was stopped in the villa, and Zhou Mikang's aunt Zhou Yueping and uncle Su Zhenghong came out to greet her. I greeted Zhao Yulan and others. Zhou Yueping quickly explained, my brother and sister-in-law want to come here, but due to the customs here, it's better to meet tomorrow. I'm a married girl. It's okay to meet. Then he put Zhou Mikang into the car. Push, hurry up and go back, we're getting married tomorrow. It's not too late. Sister-in-law, uncle. I will trouble you here. Although Zhou Mikang didn't mind these customs very much, he wanted to let the elders who believed in them have no grudges in their hearts. He got into the car obediently, and took Grandpa Dagong and Grandma Chen away. Before setting off, Mr. Zhou was wordy countless times, and he must take Grandpa Dagong home for him as soon as possible. Su Zhenghong glanced at Zhou Hanliang, who was thrown down to help take care of the relatives of the Lin family, and smiled helplessly, you brat still doesn't believe us. The head of the regiment is afraid of tiring the teacher and his wife. Cut, don't give him money, Zhou Yueping said while holding Zhao Yulan's hand affectionately to complain, sister-in-law, if Xiaomi treats us half as well as you, I can wake up from my dreams with laughter. Zhao Yulan couldn't accept such words, so she just smiled and didn't make a sound. Father, mother, grandma, grandfather, uncle, aunt, sister-in-law, little uncle. As soon as everyone stepped into the door, Chu Xia rushed over, followed by Luo Xiaoxian, who also looked excited. So here, Chu Xia was greeting each other, and over there, the fat aunt was already holding Luo Xiaoxian with tears of excitement. Orbital. After everyone waited for the chatter and intimacy, Zhou Yueping invited everyone to sit down and have a tea break, and arranged for 2 nannies to cook quickly. Sister, who owns this house? The fat aunt couldn't help asking curiously as she looked at the spacious villa. This is the ancestral property of the Zhou family. It was just returned half a year ago, and it has not been cleaned up. After Xiaomi and Chu Xia got married, the old man asked someone to come over and clean and paint it, Zhou Yueping said while pushing open the window. The scenery is good, leaning against the mountains and rivers. The old man wants to tidy up after a while, and when he is pregnant in early summer, he can come here to raise a baby. Chu Xia's cousin Wang Meifeng, who had been silent all this time, looked at Chu Xia enviously. Becoming a teacher and marrying into Chiang's family has always been something she is extremely proud of, but now comparing with this little cousin, everything she has is not worth mentioning at all. Not to mention living in a big house with a nanny. Just talking about men, Chiang Junjia and Zhou Mikang are not comparable at all. The so-called leader. It turned out to be such a young team leader. Her envious gaze turned to eagerness, and she regretted her indifference and sarcasm towards Chu Xia in the past. She wondered if it would be of any use to work hard now. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 203. Normal update arrives. Knowing daughter Mo Ruomu noticed Wang Meifeng's eager eyes when she looked at Chu Xia, and her aunt Zhao Yueying knew what her daughter was thinking. Sighing secretly, Zhao Yueying grabbed Chu Xia's hand ahead of her daughter. "Xia, I haven't seen you in nearly half a year. You are taller, fatter, and handsome. You really are a big girl." She is telling the truth. Compared with half a year ago, early summer has changed a lot. Her height has risen from 165 to about 168. Her thin body is obviously stronger than before. A slightly bulky green military uniform was worn on her body, not only did not cover up her soft aura, but on the contrary made her look more charming and pretty. Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe looked at such a daughter with pride. Originally, their daughter's appearance was their burden, but now, it was their pride from the bottom of their hearts. Such an excellent daughter belonged to them. Chu Xia had a good impression of my aunt Zhao Yueying, so she laughed and joked, "Auntie, I like to hear you say that I am tall and handsome. Why do you say that I am fat?" "This child, it's great to be fat. Look at this little face, and you can touch the flesh." Zhao Yueying touched her niece's face while talking, and the touch of her hands made her sigh. "This little tender skin, I don't want to think about it in my life." Elder sister. Second Aunt Zhao Yuqi was speechless. Elder sister really dares to think that at this age, she dares to be younger than Chu Xia. Tisk tisk. Hearing what the second sister said, Zhao Yueying smiled helplessly. "When did I become younger than Chu Xia? I'm praising our family, Xia, can't you hear it? Don't mention my age now. It was when I was as old as Chu Xia, there is no comparison." Zhao Yulan answered with a smile, "Our conditions were not good at that time." Zhao Yuqi nodded in agreement, "That's true. At that time, we went out to work every day, and our face was blown like a pig's butt. How can we compare with Xia? Our Xia is a blessed one, and when he becomes a doctor in the future, he will not be exposed to the wind and rain not much. Among the daughters of the old Zhao family, Xia is the most promising." Since Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe helped rescue Mrs. Zhang last time, Zhao Yuqi's attitude towards Chu Xia's family has changed 180 degrees. Let her praise Chu Xia like this before? That was a dream. Both the elder sister and the second sister praised her daughter, so the corners of Zhao Yulan's mouth curled up. "Don't praise her. However, our family Xia is really promising. You didn't see her in training, maybe she suffered a lot." The corners of Chu Xia's mouth twitched. "Kissing my old lady, can't you be more modest? Even if we are really that good. You should be humble first and then praise." I looked around and found 3 relatives in a circle. A group of 5 gathered together, and they all chatted enthusiastically. My father was dragged outside by Uncle Gangshun, his uncle and his second uncle, looking at something in the distance. Chu Xia likes such a harmonious scene very much. Original. She was really worried that there would be a lot of relatives who got along well but didn't get along well. It was not a happy event at all, but a worrying one. This is what it looks like now. Good. However, the pressure parents will face after returning home will be heavier. Chu Xia. Come here, come quickly. Luo Xiaoxian, who was sitting with Luan Dejiang, Luan Xiaoxiang, and Zhang Xiaoqing, waved to Chu Xia. "Auntie and auntie. I'm going to Xiaoxiang's place, let my mother accompany you two to continue playing," Chu Xia said and waved to Luo Xiaoxiang. "This child." Zhao Yulan shook her head helplessly. "I've been spoiled too." She speaks in a nondescript way. As someone's wife, such a way of speaking is not acceptable. "Sister-in-law, don't worry about it. For an official as son-in-law, if he can drive a car to pick us up in person, it means that our family Xia has a high status in his heart. How old is he? Older than Xia? How can we not let Xia?" "That's right, Xiao Zhou is a soldier. If Xia really talks around the bush, maybe he won't take it seriously." After thinking about it, Zhao Yulan nodded, "That's true." When Chuxia went to Luo Xiaoxiang's side, Luan Xiaoxiang hurriedly grabbed her. "Chuxia, Xiaoxiang said that the head of the regiment fell in love with you before you went to join the army, is it true? This early summer is not sure, so I can only tell the truth, I don't know. How can you not know? Then how did you know each other? Can you tell me more about it? Xia, I'm curious, so tell me. Zhou Yueping, who was chatting with Lin Baojuan next to her, started to twitch her ears. She had been extremely curious about her nephew's sudden decision to marry a wife. She admitted that Lin Chuxia was beautiful and smart, but Zhou Mikang had met girls who were prettier and smarter than Lin Chuxia, and there were girls who were as smart and pretty as Lin Chuxia, but she had never seen him being interested in anyone. Chu Xia looked at Luo Xiaoxian. You didn't tell her, how did Zhou Mikang and I meet? Speaking of which, I just said that you are Tuanzhang Zhou who I met at our house. Then, Tuanzhang Zhou caught your eye, and they felt that I didn't explain in detail enough. Luo Xiaoxian spread her hands, that's why I greeted you. My lord, please come and add. She was telling Chu Xia what she was saying in a disguised form. There's nothing to add. Xiaoxian knows all about me. When Chu Xia came over, she noticed Zhou Yueping was sitting next to her. If you asked her to talk about something similar to love history, how could she be embarrassed? Although it wasn't a love history, she was even more embarrassed to tell how she cheated on food stamps in front of her aunt. Luan Xiaoxiang was very disappointed that she didn't get the answer she wanted, and Zhou Yueping was also very disappointed that she didn't overhear the answer she wanted. She still wanted to use this as a selling point to show off to her sister-in-law. Chu Xia, I haven't seen you for half a year. You have changed so much that I don't dare to recognize you anymore. Wang Maifeng, who had been sitting next to the three sisters of the Zhao family, came over. Although they are not from the same village, when Wang Maifeng went to Chu Xia's house to visit relatives in the past, several of them met. Wang Maifeng's attitude towards Chu Xia made Luo Xiaoxiang and Luan Xiaoxiang dislike her very much. Seeing her coming now, both of them fell silent, and their complexions paled. On the contrary, Luan Dajiang, Luan Xiaoxiang's twin brother, looked at Wang Maifeng with a slightly eager expression. On the aesthetics of boys and girls, there are always differences. Of course, Chu Xia didn't like this cousin, but since she came and took the initiative to talk, she couldn't knock him back with a single word, so she smiled lightly. Thank you for the compliment, second sister. Second sister, have you forgotten how you treated Chu Xia in the past? Are you not tired of pretending like this now? Zhang Xiaoqing was not polite when he spoke. He was very fond of this cousin who saw people ordering dishes. If he doesn't like her, he doesn't even understand why his wife likes her so much. Could it be that his brain structure is different from his wife's? Being robbed by Zhang Xiaoqing like this, Wang Maifeng's face turned red, but she didn't let go of Chu Xia's hand, but pulled it even tighter, and her eyes were full of apology. Xia, the second sister's attitude towards you before not good, but at that time, I really felt sorry for my aunt, and I hated you a little, so you don't hold grudges against second sister, do you? No. Hearing the nanny coming over to ask Zhou Yueping if he would like to serve dinner, Chu Xia took advantage of the opportunity to pull out his hand. I'll help set the table. Zhao Yueying, who had been paying attention to this side, sighed softly. She must find an opportunity to say hello to her niece. She can't control her own daughter, so she can only let her niece cooperate. After dinner and sitting for a while, Zhou Yueping and Su Zhenghong left. After all, they are relatives of the man's side, and they will stay with the man's side for tomorrow's wedding. After seeing off Zhou Yueping and Su Zhenghong, the old lady Zhao ordered Zhao Yulan to take Chu Xia back to her room to rest, and the implication was naturally that no one was allowed to disturb the couple. Your grandma is really looking for you. Entering the room, Zhao Yulan said to her daughter with a smile, the old lady saw that your sister Maifeng has been looking for a chance to talk to you, so she deliberately stopped you. I can see that grandma and grandpa really didn't tell me anything, but mother, what do you think Miss Maifeng wants to tell me? I can't guess what she wants to say, but your aunt told me to let you know. No matter what your sister Mai Feng asks you to help, don't promise her. I know. Chu Xia nodded in response, and couldn't help but sigh. Auntie and uncle both have good personalities. Who exactly does sister Mai Feng follow? Mai Feng studied well in childhood, she is not bad in looks, and has a sweet mouth. She is the most favored among the girls of the Wang family. When your aunt scolded her for doing something wrong, her grandma always protected her. On our side, your second aunt is also protecting her. Alas, your aunt has nothing to complain about. Chu Xia curled her lips. It seems that she is less worried than I am. Of course she was talking about the original Chu Xia. Xia will be sensible when she grows up. It's not the same as her. Chu Xia couldn't help laughing. Mom, I found out that in the eyes of you and Dad, I have advantages everywhere. Xia is sensible. Zhao Yulan grabbed her daughter's hand again as she spoke. Tomorrow she will be his daughter-in-law, so I can't be willful anymore. Chu Xia interrupted her amusedly. Mom, you said I was sensible just now. He. Zhao Yulan laughed embarrassedly. Could she not help but want to tell her daughter a few words? Thinking of her task of sleeping with her daughter, Zhao Yulan blushed. Looking at Zhao Yulan, who was blushing like a shrimp, Chu Xia hurriedly said, Mom, if you are worried, just tell me a few more words, I was just joking with you. Xia. Zhao Yulan opened her mouth, but she didn't know what to say. She just stuck there, opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again, and closed it again. Staring at her inexplicably for a long time, Chu Xia suddenly realized, and blushed unconsciously, Mom, I'm sleepy, I'm taking a shower and going to sleep. Seeing her daughter enter the bathroom, Zhao Yulan let out a long sigh of relief, then continued to brew her emotions, and when her daughter came out, she must say everything she should say. First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor, please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 204. After brewing for a long time, she felt that there must be no problem this time. Zhao Yulan let out a long sigh of relief. Unfortunately, when Chu Xia came out of the bathroom, she sat beside her with a blushing face, and couldn't say the words that came to her lips. Thinking back when she got married, her mother taught her this, wishing she would not marry, so Zhao Yulan, who had no practical experience in this field, regretted it very much at this time. Why didn't she learn from her mother before coming in? But this kind of thing, no matter how embarrassed I have to teach my daughter, this is the mother's responsibility. Thinking of this, Zhao Yulan opened her mouth expectantly. Xia, being someone's wife is not just a matter of lip service. Chu Xia nodded, yes. That's it. I come from the early summer of the 21st century. Even if I don't have any experience in this field, but with such advanced information, have I never eaten pork or seen a pig running? He couldn't bear to continue to embarrass Zhao Yulan, so he said, Mother, don't worry about it, I know what you want to say. You know. Zhao Yulan's eyes widened in an instant. You, how do you know? Her face turned even redder after she said this. Well, when Xiaoxiang's sister got married, didn't Xiaoxiang and I stay at her house to sleep at night? In the middle of the night, when Auntie Xiaoxiang was talking to her sister, we heard it. Zhao Yulan breathed a sigh of relief secretly. She thought that when she was making out with Lin Baohe, her daughter saw her go to bed early after talking about such a topic. She didn't know how to face her daughter, so she had to use this method to hide my discomfort. Seeing that Zhao Yulan stopped asking questions, Chu Xia also quietly breathed a sigh of relief. When cousin Xiaoxiang got married, she and Luo Xiaoxiang did stay overnight, but they were taught something. It's definitely her nonsense. No way, she must find a reason. How could her mother sleep? There was nothing to say all night. At 5:30 in the morning, Chu Xia was dragged up from the warm bed by Zhao Yulan. Although makeup is not required in this era, it is necessary to make up. The facial features are very delicate, the eyebrows are not messy, and the complexion is well maintained. Zhao Yulan couldn't find a place to attack after looking at it for a long time. I saw my old lady holding a set of tools in her hand. After being dazed for a long while, Chu Xia cooperated and made a rescue. Mother, I'll wash my face, and you can just comb my hair well. Zhao Yulan. That short cabbage bun, what's there to comb? A family like the Zhou family. In order not to be criticized, the bride should not be allowed to wear a wedding dress. Therefore, even though they were married, Chu Xia only changed into a brand new and more decent military uniform. Beside, nothing has changed. Looking at her pretty and charming self in the mirror, Chu Xia regretted secretly, and agreed in the future. She must take another set of wedding photos. Looking back, seeing Zhao Yulan looking at herself proudly, Chu Xia couldn't help laughing. Mother, are you fascinated by me? My daughter is the prettiest girl in the world. Mother. Chu Xia hugged her tightly. If there is a next life, I will still be my mother's daughter. Chu Xia said so. Zhao Yulan's nose got sore, and tears came down. Silly boy, of course you will be your mother's daughter. No matter how many lives you live, you will always be your mother's daughter. Boom boom boom. Zhao Yulan quickly wiped away her tears, and said softly, go and open the door. The door opened, Luo Xiaoxian poked her head in, followed by Luan Xiaoxiang. They slept in the same room last night. Looking up and down Chu Xia, Luo Xiaoxian clicked his tongue. The bride is different, she is not dressed up, but she looks happy. Trying to hold back the panic in her heart, Chu Xia rolled her eyes. You are a bridesmaid today, you must protect me well, and don't hurt me like others. Don't worry, my sister will definitely protect you tightly. Luo Xiaoxian glanced at the time and narrowed her eyes happily. The bridegroom is coming soon, close the door, and if there are less red envelopes, we will definitely not let you go. You child, why are you in a hurry? Fat Aunt came in, pulled her daughter aside, looked at Chu Xia, and nodded with satisfaction. It looks good. You look like a bride. Luo Xiaoxian couldn't help curling her lips. It's because our family grows well in early summer, and we haven't dressed up and haven't worn flowers yet. How can we look like a bride? After a while, the whole family rushed over, surrounded Chu Xia, telling you every word. In fact, Chu Xia didn't hear anything clearly. At this moment, she looked calm and thought, already panicked into a group. Get married. This is marriage. Can you not panic? Looking at the time, Ms. Zhao waved her hand like chasing flies. Go out, I have a few words with Chu Xia. Li Aiwan smiled and pulled Zhao Yulan to go out. Mother tossed and turned all night and didn't fall asleep. If we don't let her speak out what's on her mind, I don't need to sleep tonight. When there were only grandparents and grandchildren left in the room, Ms. Zhao caressed her granddaughter's cheek with rough hands. Xia, Grandma actually doesn't have anything to say to you, I just want to spend time with Xia. Grandma. Chu Xia burst into tears all of a sudden. You have been weak since you were young, and Grandma is most worried about you. Now that you can find such a good husband's family, Grandma is happy. The old lady took out a handkerchief to help Chu Xia dry her tears as she spoke. Don't cry, we want to be the most beautiful bride. Grandma, I will go back to see you and Grandpa when I am on vacation. Well, bring your son-in-law with you. Okay, take him and let him buy delicious food for Grandma. Well, let him buy delicious food for Grandma. At 7 o'clock, the car to pick up the bride arrived at the door. Zhou Mikang, who was dressed in a brand new military uniform, was handsome and upright, and the elders were delighted to see him. Snort. Who dares to say that our family married an old man in early summer? Is there such a good-looking and young old man? Let those people spread the word. When Chu Xia brings his son-in-law back, they might smash their eye sockets. Father, Mother, I'm here. Zhou Mikang greeted Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan first, and then turned to greet other elders one by one. Zhou Mikang's cousin, Zhou Huikang, who was the best man, had never seen such an image of his cousin, and he forgot all of a sudden. What did I come here for? And I stood there with my mouth half open, startled. Seeing his appearance, Zhou Hanliang came to his side with a funny face, and whispered in his ear, "Comrade best man, pay attention to your image." Zhou Huikang quickly stood up straight, and his uncles, aunts, grandparents, and grandparents greeted them one by one. Mrs. Zhao and Mrs. Zhao were in charge. After Zhou Mikang sent out a red envelope, Luo Xiaoxiang and Luan Xiaoxiang had no choice but to open the door and let them go. Finally, this moment came. Standing beside the bed, Chu Xia unconsciously clenched her hands, her mind was buzzing. She couldn't think at all now, feeling like her heart was about to jump out of her throat. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 205. This chapter is 4,000 words, and this chapter will be updated tonight, and there will be an update at noon tomorrow. Zhou Mikang always thought that it would be very difficult to get him excited, but now, his heart is about to jump out of his throat. Looking at the charming little girl standing in front of the bed, his violently beating heart softened unconsciously. From now on, she will be his wife. The first time they met, she looked at him like a little hedgehog. The second time they met, like a little fox, she exchanged a few dumplings for food coupons that could eat dozens of dumplings. When they met for the third time, she was obedient like a little rabbit on the surface, but behind her back she showed her true nature as a little hedgehog and little fox, and took away all the food coupons from him and Zhou Hanliang. The fourth time they met, she was on the edge of her physical limit, which allowed him to have a better understanding of her. It turned out that in her bones, she was a very tough girl. Just like that, every time he saw her, the imprint on her in his heart would get heavier, so that when he was misunderstood by his family about his relationship with her, he didn't reject her at all, and then he simply made the mistake and forcibly forced her to marry her own. At that time, he was really tired of his family's overt and secret urging, so he thought that giving her what she wanted and getting what he wanted would be the perfect deal. But at this moment, the feeling in his heart made him realize clearly that he not only wanted her to be his wife, but also wanted her to fall in love with him from the bottom of her heart, and only him in her heart. Close at hand. Because of the excitement, he even felt that he felt as if he had walked so far away a century. He finally came to her. Amidst the booing of the crowd, he hugged her by the waist. "Turn around and stride out." Chu Xia's face was flushed red. She knew that she couldn't struggle to get down at this time, but it was so embarrassing to be hugged by him like this. She always felt that such a hug should be the exclusive right of lovers who admire each other, but she and him felt his strong heartbeat. Her mood gradually calmed down. It might be good to have such a person protecting her. In a house not far away, on a long table, a couple in their 70s and a couple in their 50s were having breakfast. Hearing the laughter outside, the chopsticks of several people stagnated at the same time. "Hey," the old lady sighed softly. "Simply put down the chopsticks and walk to the stairs on the second floor. Look into the distance. Come back to eat." The old man's voice contained faint anger. "Dad." As soon as the woman in her 50s opened her mouth, she was glared at by the man sitting beside her, and the woman sighed slightly. Also got up and went to the second floor. Looking into the distance, such excitement made her heart twitch slightly. "Help the old lady up, Mom, it's cool in the morning. Go and sit inside." The old lady sighed again, and obediently followed the woman into the house. But he didn't sit down at the dinner table. Glancing at the silent old lady sitting on the sofa, the old man frowned even tighter. "Are you trying to show me?" The old lady snorted angrily, "I'm not as hard-hearted as you. At a time like this, it's impossible for me not to miss her." The old man frowned tightly. "The Ye family doesn't have such descendants." "Dad." The woman said sadly, she already knows that she is wrong, she is a descendant of the Ye family after all, Dad gave her a chance, if she hadn't run out of money, she would not have spoken to the family. The old man stared at the woman sharply, the Ye family was almost doomed because of her. If it wasn't for Lao Zhou thinking about the old relationship, you two would still be sitting here now. Dad, Xiaomi has already opened her heart to get married. She is your granddaughter. Do you really have the heart to let her be homeless for the rest of her life? The man next to the woman moved his lips, but finally said nothing. His slight sigh was exceptionally clear in the silent room. The noise of the car passing by the door gradually faded away until it became silent. The old man pushed the bowl away and went to the study without saying anything. Mom. The woman looked at the old lady, begging. Kangxia, you know your father's temper. With a heavy sigh, the old lady turned her gaze out of the window. Give him a little more time, he will be fine. Since Zhou Mikang left, Lin Yangkai ran to the door every 2 or 3 minutes to look around, making Zhou Jiping and Zhou Xiangping laugh. Mom, how can it be so fast? It will take an hour to come here anyway. You can sit quietly for a while. Zhou Xiangping forcibly dragged Lin Yangkai to sit on the sofa and handed her a glass of water. Calm down, don't wait for brother and sister-in-law when serving tea, you spilled it all. I think it's really possible. Second Aunt Liang Xiaohong agreed with a smile. Zhou Zikang stepped forward to caress Lin Yangkai's back. Mom, you've been through a battle anyway, why are you still so impatient? When you and Yu Tao got married, she wasn't so nervous. Mrs. Zhou stood up as she spoke. No, I'm dizzy, I have to lie down for a while. Mom, Lin Yangkai grabbed old Madame Zhou's arm anxiously. I won't leave, I won't leave. I'll come down as soon as I lie down, and it's not like I won't come down anymore. Mrs. Zhou glanced at her. It's not the first time I've been your mother-in-law either. Am I going to let outsiders laugh at this kind of thing? Mom, I know you won't, but if the car comes and you fall asleep, you will be uncomfortable if you wake up again. Lin Yangkai forcibly pulled the old lady Zhou to sit beside her, and pulled her tightly. Holding each other's arm, he didn't let go of it. Zhou Jingping also helped his wife to persuade, Mom, just listen to Yang Kaiu, it feels so uncomfortable to be woken up after falling asleep. Second Uncle Zhou Gangping couldn't help laughing, I've never seen my eldest brother and sister-in-law so nervous. The third Uncle Zhou Shanping also smiled innocently, but he didn't say much. Only he and his son Zhou Huikang came to the wedding today. His wife Lu Lingmei and daughter Zhou Yiping were not present. Since the last engagement banquet, his wife and daughter have never been to Zhou's house again. The mother and wife are also lukewarm to him, even. The wife also vaguely revealed that she wanted to divorce him. The Xiao family where the son-in-law Xiao Yuan belongs to is now on the rise, after what happened last time. Xiao Yuan and the Zhou family have torn their faces apart, so it means that the Xiao family and the Zhou family have completely torn their faces. If the daughter wants to stay in the Xiao family, she cannot associate with the Zhou family. Choose the side that is most beneficial to her, so he became the abandoned child. Forget it, just leave. On such a happy day, his wife and daughter have no scruples about his thoughts. What else is there for him to miss? Fortunately, his son Huikang has been facing him and the Zhou family, otherwise, he would really have no face to face his father and elder brother and sister-in-law. I'm coming. The niece's yelling brought Zhou Shanping back from his thoughts, and he got up quickly with the others, and saw his son in a brand new Chinese tunic suit and a young girl in military uniform. He followed his nephew Zhou Mikang and nephew and daughter-in-law Lin Chuxia into the hall. Long before the bride and groom came in, Mr. Zhou, Mrs. Zhou, Zhou Jingping and Lin Yangkai were sitting on the top seats. Looking at his son and daughter-in-law in military uniforms, Lin Yangkai's eyes almost disappeared. He had never seen a boy wearing military uniforms so handsomely. I have never seen a girl wearing such a soft and pretty military uniform, They are really a natural couple. Zhou Jingping and Lin Yangkai were in the same mood, but after all, he was a man, so the expression on his face was not as obvious as that of Lin Yangkai. Chu Xia stood next to Zhou Mikang. His face looked calm, but his heart was beating like a drum. On the way here, in order to relieve her tension, she had been chatting with Luo Xiaoxing all the time. She was not nervous at first, but as soon as she entered the gate of Zhou's house, her little heart started beating uncontrollably. Get married. This is marriage. With trembling hands, she took the tea from the bridesmaid, and offered it to Mr. Zhou, Mrs. Zhou, Zhou Jingping, and Lin Yangkai in turn. After toasting the 4 cups of tea, her arms were sore and swollen. The 4 elders were not embarrassed when she happily took it and drank it. Seeing her doing all these tremblingly, Zhou Mikang felt a little distressed, and simply embraced her and announced, "Keep everything simple, go to the restaurant now." Everyone. Is there anyone who protects his wife like this? Fortunately, weddings in this era are not as cumbersome as later generations. For ordinary people, after receiving the certificate, the families of both parties get together and ask the couple to recite quotations to express their loyalty, and then have a meal together, and the matter is over. The Zhou family is not an ordinary family, and they attach great importance to Zhou Mikang's marriage, so they hold it relatively grandly. Therefore, although Zhou Mikang's actions were a bit out of the ordinary, they did not arouse the resentment of the elders. But in other words, do the elders dare to be disgusted? Finally these 2 stubborn heads agreed to get married. Do they dare to be disgusted? Being protected by Zhou Mikang in this way, Chu Xia felt a little grateful to him, and took the initiative to lean towards him, feeling her closeness to him, and the corners of the leader's mouth curled up unconsciously. It was the first time for Luo Xiaoxing to come to Zhou's house, and Luo Xiaoxing, who had never seen such a battle, accidentally suffered leg cramps. Seeing everyone rushing out suddenly, no one noticed her, and Xiao Qian, who couldn't move, was so anxious that beads of sweat were rolling down. For fear of losing Chu Xia's face, she didn't dare to shout. As a result, the more anxious the leg was, the more severe it was. Then when they got out to get in the car, Chu Xia realized that the bridesmaid was gone. When the car drove for more than 10 minutes, Luo Xiaoxing's face was still as red as a boiled shrimp. She had never been so embarrassing. It's nothing more than a person who loses himself, but he even lost Chu Xia's face. She hated herself now. It's normal to be nervous. Didn't you notice that I was also nervous? When you handed me tea, my hands kept shaking. Don't be like this, be happy, it's my wedding day anyway. Xiaoxing, don't wait for this, are you protesting my marriage? No matter how Ren Chuxia tried to persuade her, Luo Xiaoxing just kept silent. Zhou Huikang, who was sitting in the co-pilot's seat, turned his head and smiled at her. When I was in the 3rd year of junior high school, I participated in a speech contest in the province. For that competition, I lit a lamp and prepared for more than a month. I must be the best performer. As a result, when I stood on the stage, I completely forgot how it started. I tried my best to recall it, and the more anxious I became, the more I couldn't remember it. Ordinarily, I just started at the beginning and continued to talk about it, but I didn't know what was going on at the time, so I felt that I couldn't talk about it without the original beginning. I stood on the stage blankly for 5 minutes, and then I was booed off the stage. The students sitting in the audience were the students of the 6 key middle schools in the city and the leaders of the provincial, municipal, and other schools. The feeling at that time was that if I were to die immediately and never have to face everything again, I would be the happiest, but in fact, how could I have the courage to die? When I got home, I covered myself in the quilt and didn't go out for 3 days. At that time, I thought, I will never step into the school gate again in this life. Guess how I stepped into the school gate? Luo Xiaoxing was already attracted by his narration, so he asked reflexively, how did you step into the gate? I was carried to school by the collar by the third brother, and he called me a coward. Jo Huikang smiled embarrassedly. I found out when I returned to school that things were not as bad as I imagined, even though there were so many. A few people would laugh at me, but most people looked at that matter with understanding and tolerance. Thank you. How could Luo Xiaoxian not understand what he meant, and immediately thanked him earnestly. Jo Huikang smiled and waved his hands. Thank you, I'm doing it for myself. If you can't get over the knot, we will be ashamed to be together. Jo Mikang praised him in a rare way. Boy, you really have grown up. Third brother. Jo Huikang stared at Jo Mikang speechlessly. I am several years older than third sister-in-law. That's a child too. Jo Huikang. With this little episode, Luo Xiaoxian's heart was completely gone, and she looked at Chu Xia apologetically. I'm sorry, I made you worry, right? Chu Xia curled her lips. Who is worried about you? I'm afraid that you will continue to embarrass me. Luo Xiaoxian. Zhao Yulan, Lin Baohe, and others had already arrived at the Guangming Hotel under the leadership of Zhou Hanliang. Now they saw their daughter and son-in-law waiting for a group of people to come in, and immediately stood up excitedly. They only knew 3 or 5 of the people at the dozen or so tables. Similarly, when Chu Xia and Luo Xiaoxian saw those familiar figures, their hearts felt a lot more at ease. Surrounded by everyone, the bride and groom were welcomed to the main table, while the groomsmen and bridesmaids went to the table where the juniors of the Zhou family sat. Looking at the glamorous bride, Zhu Xingkan, who was sitting next to the main table, was full of envy. She couldn't help poking her son with hatred, but when she saw the unconcealable disappointment in her son's eyes, somewhat regretting his actions, he quietly took his son's hand and squeezed it comfortingly. Jingzhe turned his gaze to her and shook his head slightly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 206. One more. The officiant is Zhou Jingping's crotch, Yang Pengsheng, the political commissar of the Beijing military region, in his 50s, wearing a pair of black-rimmed glasses. Different from Zhou Jingping's roughness, he looks gentle. If he doesn't wear military uniform, he looks more like a university student professor. Looking at the pair of people in front of him, Yang Pengsheng was very moved. He was very clear about the stalemate between Zhou Jingping and Zhou Mikang all these years. He was even more aware of the pain in Zhou Jingping's heart than Lin Yangkaiu. Now that everything was resolved, he was happy for Zhou Jingping from the bottom of his heart. Therefore, after the bride and groom raised their hands and read a quotation, he stopped engaging in formalism and went straight to the topic. Comrade Zhou Mikang, Comrade Lin Chuxia, from today onwards, you have become an official husband and wife, and in the future, you will become a formal husband and wife. In life, we must help each other, respect the elderly, love comrades, and make progress together. Here, I wish you a happy life together and grow old together. Thank you, Uncle Yang. Zhou Mikang and Chu Xia hurriedly expressed their thanks. Open the table. Mr. Zhou, MRS Zhou, Zhou Jingping, Lin Yangkaiu, Mr. Zhao, MRS Zhao, Zhao Yulan, Lin Baohe, Grandpa Dagong, Grandma Chen, and the bride and groom sat at the main table. Among the 10 elders, 6 were from the bride's side. With such an arrangement, Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe's minds were completely relieved. If it wasn't for respect, how could they arrange it like this? Chu Xia also felt warm in her heart. No matter whether MRS Zhou accepted her or not, no matter whether she and Zhou Mikang got married because of love or not, everything today made her feel that the Zhou family valued her. This let her be full of confidence in the road to go in the future. I'm halfway through the meal. In early summer, Zhou Mikang sat at the table to toast. The guests who came to the wedding, except for the relatives of the Lin family and the Zhou family. Then there are good friends with Mr. Zhou and Zhou Jingping and Lin Yangkaiu. And among these people, almost 90% of them knew that Zhou Mikang was engaged to Yamiru of the Ye family, and also knew that Zhou Mikang had always refused to get married since he broke up with Yamiru. Or it can be said that among these people, a large part of them once wanted to introduce their own daughters or relatives' daughters or friends' daughters, etc. to the Zhou family as daughter-in-laws. But without exception, they were all rejected by Zhou Mikang, and they didn't even look at each other. Therefore, just when they firmly thought that Zhou Mikang would either be single or marry Yamiru, it is conceivable how shocked they were when Chu Xia appeared in the sky. Come to the wedding, in addition to courtesies. A large number of people have the intention of observing the bride's excellence. Result: as soon as they arrived at the hotel, they found out that the group of rustic country people were the bride's family. God knows how disappointed they were. How could my own daughter, niece, be inferior to a country girl? Even after seeing Chu Xia with his own eyes. They didn't change their minds either. Apart from her good looks, what other merits does this bride have? Now, they all felt that they were not married to the Zhou family. If nothing else, it is because they are not persistent enough. If they persevere, and Zhou Mikang can't stand the nagging of the elders, maybe their daughters, nieces, will be selected. Then, they will be the ones sitting at the main table now. Thinking of this, some people looked at Chu Xia more critically. Of course Chu Xia felt those critical eyes, but she didn't bother to deal with these people, and she didn't live with them. Whether they were picky or not, it didn't matter to her. Therefore, when toasting, the nervousness in the Zhou family was swept away. Chu Xia behaved gracefully, and someone who deliberately wanted to force her to drink, was blocked by Zhou Mikang before she could speak. After such a few times, everyone also saw Zhou Mikang's protection of the bride, so they stopped making troubles. The day of rejoicing is a done deal, so why should they have trouble with themselves? ZenMaleLead sat at the table with Jingzhe's mother and son. ZenMaleLead's mother and Zhou Mikang's aunt Lin Yanmei also sat at this table. The mother and daughter had been secretly observing their expressions. Of course, the purpose of the two mothers is different. ZenMaleLead wanted to see the extent of Jingzhe's feelings for Chu Xia, and whether she still needed to fight for it, while Lin Yanmei wanted to keep an eye on Zhu Xingchen, preventing her from spoiling her nephew's marriage. Although Zhu Xingchen and Lin Yangkaiu had been at loggerheads, she still respected Lin Yanmei. Seeing that she was staring at her worriedly, she smiled. "Eldest sister, don't worry, no matter how unreliable I am, it's impossible for me to make concessions at this time. It's a joke." "No, I'm afraid you won't be full." Lin Yanmei helped Zhu Xingchen pick up vegetables while smiling. "Eat more." Zhu Xingchen said with a funny face, "Sister, do you think I will be polite?" After pretending to ponder for a while, Lin Yanmei shook her head. "I don't think so." "Then it's over." Zhu Xingchen spread her hands, and when she saw Chuxia and Zhou Mikang approaching, she stood up with a smile. "Little Chuxia, today is so beautiful, you are the most beautiful bride Auntie has ever seen." "Thank you, Auntie." Zhu Chuxia hurriedly thanked her, and then greeted other people she knew. "Hello, Dean Su, teacher, Song Xiao, teacher Jing, and Captain Zheng." Both Dean Su and Song Xiao smiled and nodded at her, while Jingzhe raised his glass to her. "Chu Xia, happy wedding." Then he drank the wine in his glass. "My name is Lin Chuxia." Lin Yanmei protested. "Chu Xia, this is my aunt." Chu Xia hadn't met Lin Yanmei yet, so Zhou Mikang introduced her to her. "Hello, Auntie." Okay, Lin Yanmei happily took Chu Xia's little hand. "My nephew is really not stupid, he chose such a handsome wife for himself. I said how he is so calm, so he has been waiting for Chu Xia all this time." ZenMaleLead couldn't help joking. "Mom, you are getting better at talking." "I'm telling the truth," Lin Yanmei said, pushing Zhou Mikang and Chu Xia. Go to another table and drink less. The latter sentence was of course admonishing Jo Mikang. Sister, you can't do this. Of course, you have to drink a lot of wedding wine. Zhu Xingkan grabbed Jo Mikang's clothes. Little B, this table hasn't had a drink yet, don't leave. Aunt Zhu, I have no intention of leaving. I haven't introduced the other aunts to Chuxia yet, Jo Mikang said while pointing to the other people whom Chuxia didn't know. This is Aunt Li, and this is Aunt Miao, this is Aunt Chi, they are all mother's friends. Chuxia greeted them one by one, and the aunts naturally praised Chuxia fiercely. They didn't know what they were thinking in their hearts. Anyway, they felt that Chuxia and Jo Mikang were a match made in heaven. After a round of toasting, it was already an hour later, and the wedding banquet was coming to an end. The relatives of the Lin family were sent back to the Zhou family's ancestral house after the wedding banquet. They had to stay there until they returned home in early summer, and then returned to their hometown. In the past few days, Jo Mikang had arranged for someone to take them around. It's a group tour. In the new house, the eyes are blindingly red. Being in the sea of red, Chuxia's heart beat uncontrollably again. Luo Xiaoxian, who was sitting beside her, felt her nervousness, and gently stroked her. Her back and lips moved, but she didn't know what to say. She could vaguely guess what Chuxia was nervous about, but she was also unmarried, so she didn't know how to persuade her about such things. It's okay, Chuxia smiled at her, it's just that I'm a little nervous because I moved to a new place. People are going to get married anyway. It will take a while to get used to it, and it will be fine. Yeah, Luo Xiaoxian nodded approvingly, and shook her hand. Yesterday, you discussed with my aunt and asked me to get married during the Chinese New Year. Then let's get married. Chuxia smiled at her. At that time, both of us will become married women. Married women are awful. You can't avoid this day even if it sounds ugly or not. Hate, can you not remind me? I didn't remind you that it exists. The two were quarreling happily. Zhou Jiping and Zhou Xiangping opened the door and walked in. What are you talking about? Zhou Xiangping asked while smiling and hugging Chuxia's shoulders. Sister-in-law, third brother, let me and second sister come with you. After the wedding banquet, some relatives of the Zhou family came to Zhou's house again. In the hall, the elders of the Zhou family and Jo Mikang were busy greeting the guests. Chuxia is the bride. According to the old customs, if she is sent to the new house, she is considered to have entered the bridal chamber, and there is no need to go out to greet the guests. Being called the third sister-in-law by a serious person, Chuxia didn't realize it. After looking around, she realized that the third sister-in-law Zhou Xiangping was talking about was her, so she smiled awkwardly. It's not that I ignored you, but I didn't realize who is the third sister-in-law. Puff. The three of them sprayed together. Even Zhou Jiping, who has always been reserved, couldn't help rubbing Chuxia's head affectionately. Third brother and sister, no wonder third brother likes you so much, you are so dazedly cute, haha. Second sister and fourth sister can go to work if they have something to do, as long as Xiaoxian is with me. The fast-talking Zhou Xiangping stared at Chuxia dissatisfied. Are you rushing us away? Chuxia hurriedly explained, no, I'm afraid that there will be too many relatives coming, and the family members will not be able to greet them. Zhou Jiping rubbed her head again. Sister and sister, you are so honest, she is teasing you, you should tell her that you just want to kick her out, she is here, she is too noisy. Seeing Chuxia's two sister-in-laws are so close to Chuxia, Luo Xiaoxian quietly breathed a sigh of relief. The sister-in-law is not easy to get along with, the most annoying thing. It seems that what her mother said is right, Chuxia is really a lucky person, and she will definitely live a very happy life in the future. First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor, please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 207. Zhou Xiangping's personality is somewhat similar to Luo Xiaoxian's, carefree and forthright, a standard female man. Zhou Jiping is slightly similar to Chuxia, She usually doesn't talk much, but as long as she is offended, she is definitely no better than Zhou Xiangping. People with these two personalities are very complementary when they are together, and they will never become chaotic because of arguing, nor will they be left cold because of reticence. Zhou Jiping and Zhou Xiangping grew up in the city and were very interested in everything in the countryside. Luo Xiaoxian told the two sisters some interesting stories about the countryside vividly. Then add a few words. Dong dong dong. Several people were chatting enthusiastically when there was a hasty knock on the door. Zhou Xiangping got up quickly, but before she could reach the door was pushed open, and a man in his early 20s, the delicate girl, came in one step at a time. Chu Xia knew her. It was the girl she met in the yard when her parents first came to Zhou's house. She was very close to Zhou Zikang and Zhou Mikang. Zhang Shui. Why are you here? Zhou Xiangping's tone was not very good, and Zhou Jiping looked at Zhang Shui with a calm expression, but he didn't say anything. Of course I'm here to see the bride. Zhang Shui didn't see that the sisters were not welcoming to her, so she approached Chu Xia with a smile, and stretched out her hand. Sister-in-law 3, congratulations. While thanking Chu Xia, he grabbed a handful of wedding candy from the small box behind him and handed it to her. Luo Xiaoxian stared at Zhang Shui vigilantly, and leaned closer to Chu Xia. She could clearly feel Zhou Jiping and Zhou Xiangping's kindness and love for Chu Xia. Generally speaking, it is the day when the wedding is held. The visitor is a guest, and the Zhou sisters are not ignorant of etiquette. However, she acted so hostile towards this girl, she automatically made up her mind. She felt that it was most likely that this girl had bad intentions towards Zhou Mikang, so, as Chu Xia's best friend, she naturally wanted to protect Chu Xia's vital interests from harm. She has already made full mental preparations. If this girl said something unpleasant to Chu Xia, she would definitely not be polite to her, and the possibility of slapping her mouth was not ruled out. Sensing Luo Xiaoxian's hostility towards Zhang Shui, Chu Xia naturally understood what she was thinking, so she squeezed her hand quietly. She signaled her to be calm. Although Zhou Jiping and Zhou Xiangping's attitude towards Zhang Shui was not very good, but based on her observation of Zhang Shui last time, she felt that she should not be the kind of girl who is brain dead for love. On a day like today, running to the door to provoke the bride should not be something she can do. Don't be so narrow-minded, okay? You are the one who is marrying Liao Hui now. I didn't even get angry at you. Why do you get angry at me? Zhang Shui's remarks confirmed Chu Xia's guess and surprised Chu Xia. The last time we met, she clearly felt. Brothers Zhang Shui and Zhou Zikang and Zhou Mikang are very close, which is unexpected. She and sister-in-law Zhou Xiangping are rivals in love. This may be the difference in the way men and women handle things. Zhou Jiping obviously rejects Zhang Shui. Zhou Xiangping stared at Zhang Shui bitterly. He snorted coldly, "Today is my third brother's big day, I'm too lazy to say anything to you. I've finished my congratulations, what are you still doing here?" Zhang Shui looked at Zhou Jiping aggrievedly, "Second sister, at least you can be fair, you know everything about me and Zhou Xiangping. Anyway, I was also watched by the third brother to grow up, he was very happy, how can I say a word of blessing? As a result, she threw a face at me as soon as I entered the door. If I didn't explain, the third sister-in-law might think that I have something to do with the third brother. Look at the expression of the bridesmaid just now, she simply treats me as an enemy," she said, still looking at Luo Xiaoxian. "Right." Luo Xiaoxian's face was a little embarrassed. In an instant, she had a terrible impression of this girl. At this time, should she say it's right or not? Isn't this obviously embarrassing? Zhou Jiping looked at Zhang Shui with a cold face. "I didn't want to intervene in the matter between you and my sister and brother-in-law, but is it a bit too much for you now? You obviously want my siblings to misunderstand me by doing this. My sister is jealous, but in fact, is that the case? Does it mean that you still went to my brother-in-law to confess your love to my sister-in-law on the day my sister got married, Or that you ran to the commune where my brother-in-law worked after my sister got married and forced my brother-in-law to invite you to dinner. No matter how much, I don't want to talk about it. You really treat everyone else as deaf and blind, so whatever you say is what you want. Zhang Shui, I warn you, this is the last time. If I find out that you have turned black and white again, don't blame me for being rude. Also, if you let me hear that you went to find my brother-in-law alone, I will definitely make you regret it for the rest of your life. If you don't believe me, you can try it. Second sister Zhang Shui blushed. It seems that you and Xiangping have misunderstood me deeply. If I hadn't heard you say that, I really didn't know that you and Xiangping missed me so much. Forget it, today is the day of the third brother's great joy, so I won't say much. Turn around, let's sit together and talk about this matter. I am really not what you imagined. I have reasonable, really. Zhou Jiping waved his hands and issued an order to evict the guest, regardless of whether it's true or not. Let's go here first. Okay. Zhang Shui looked at Chu Xia, sister-in-law. It's the custom here that only unmarried girls can help the bride drive out those who make trouble in the bridal chamber. Originally, I wanted to help the third brother and the third sister-in-law to block yes. It seems she glanced at Zhou Xiangping and Zhou Jixiang's face, and sighed regretfully. It seems to be impossible. Second sister and fourth sister will help me find a way. Chu Xia gave her a soft nail in a mild manner. This Zhang Shui looks carefree, but in fact, she is a gloomy master. She said so. Obviously it was trying to provoke the relationship between Chu Xia and Zhou Jiping and Zhou Xiangping. At this moment, Chu Xia felt that Zhou Zikang and Zhou Mikang had a good relationship with Zhang Shui, or it was because of her way of doing things. Sister-in-law 3, I'm not in vain for you. When Zhang Shui left the room, Zhou Xiangping hugged Chu Xia with a happy face. Zhou Jiping glared at her. I still have the face to say, what a big deal, it's been so many years. I haven't sorted it out yet. Zhou Xiangping looked indifferent. Anyway, Liao Hui doesn't like her, so she can dance as she likes. As long as she doesn't dance in front of me, I don't bother to talk to her. If you really don't mind. What would your attitude be like? I am your sister, and Chu Xia is your sister-in-law. Xiaoxing and Chu Xia have such a good relationship, so they are not considered outsiders. After staring at Zhou Xiangping for a while, Zhou Jiping continued, in front of the few of us, to be honest, is it that difficult? After being silent for a while, Zhou Xiangping smiled calmly. Okay. I admit that when I heard that she went to look for Liao Hui, I would feel uncomfortable and quarrel with Liao Hui, but let me argue with her like a shrew. I cannot do it. What did Liao Hui say when you and Liao Hui were having a fight? He just said that I was thinking too much, and he said that he didn't have any interest in Zhang Shui. He just thought that she had grown up with Fa Xiao, and she approached her, so it's hard to refuse. If I were you, I would ask directly. When you see her, can you consider your wife's feelings first? You can care about the feelings of outsiders, why not care about your wife's feelings? Zhou Xiangping scratched her head. Yeah, I'll say that next time. Zhou Jiping, for my confused younger sister. She really didn't know what to say. Seeing Chu Xia and Luo Xiaoxian both snickering, Zhou Xiangping glared at them. You can learn from me. No matter which girl has bad intentions for her husband, she must resolutely strangle her in the bud. Zhou Jiping gave her a white look. You better stop cursing your third sister-in-law and Luo Xiaoxian. Which woman is willing to share such a thing? On a happy day, say something nice, don't say useless things here. The third brother and the third sister-in-law are sweet for a lifetime. The third brother and the third sister-in-law are happy for a lifetime. The third brother and the third sister-in-law give birth to a son early. The third brother and the third sister-in-law. Okay, Zhou Jiping quickly interrupted her. Can you be a little regular? You are several years older than your third sister-in-law. Look at you, and then look at her. Do you have the nerve to say how old you are? The characters are different, there is no comparison, Zhou Xiangping said while dragging Luo Xiaoxian to her side. If you want to compare, I will also compare with Xiaoxian. Luo Xiaoxian looked at her seriously. I am much more mature than you. Zhou Xiangping. Ha ha ha. Zhou Jiping laughed happily. It deserves it. What's so happy about it? Lin Yangkai opened the door and came in, and sat down next to Chu Xia. It's a custom in our family to have dinner with the bridal chamber. I guess those bastards won't be able to make you feel comfortable later, otherwise this will you eat some tampa first. Mom, no need, Chu Xia said while pointing to a table full of snacks and snacks. There are so many foods here, how can I be hungry? What's the use of that? I asked Mrs. Lee to cook you lamb chops with yam, that's the best for girls. While talking, Mrs. Lee came in with a delicate porcelain basin, put it on the table, scooped out a small bowl and put it in front of Chu Xia, and said with a smile, "Third young lady, this has been stewed for 3 hours, and it's all rotten, do you taste it to your liking?" Chu Xia was a little surprised to be called the third young lady. In this day and age, do you dare to call her that? However, she just thought about it in her heart, but she didn't ask anything. Obediently picked up the spoon and took a sip, nodding repeatedly, "It's delicious, it tastes so good. It's fine if it suits your taste. Mom still has to go down to entertain guests. The second and fourth children, I'll leave this to you," Lin Yangkai said as she got up and hurried out. Zhou Xiangping curled her lips. "Sister-in-law 3, we have to stand aside when you enter the door. Mom is too partial. When did she care about me and my second sister so much?" These words sounded like jealousy, but they were actually comforting her. Chu Xia smiled gratefully at Zhou Xiangping, and greeted a few people to eat together. How could the dishes at the wedding banquet be so exquisite? Not long after the few people had finished eating, the bridal chamber hostess came in carrying the table. As Lin Yangkai expected, the rowdy team composed of Zhou Mikang's cousins, comrades in arms, and friends would definitely not make the bride and groom feel comfortable of. Usually they are oppressed by Zhou Mikang, how can they not make some money at this time? It's a pity, is Zhou Mikang's cheapness so easy to earn? As soon as Yu Qi entered the house and saw the worried face of his charming little wife, he decided that these people must be suppressed by force. P.S. Tweet. ISBN 291-2687. Title, Department of Rebirth and Time Travel. Introduction. Do you want to make up for past regrets? Do you want revenge for abusing the scumbag and ruthless 3? Want a happy life? Feel life is boring? Want to regain passion? Come to the division of rebirth time traveling. As long as you change the development of the world during rebirth or travel, you can open up a new world, your own world. The rewards here include immortality, strength, memory, and beauty to perfection. What are you waiting for? The best choice for rebirth time travel division. You deserve to have